Well, we'll go to my Heavenly Father and ask His blessing on the study and for Gloria as well. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this opportunity to gather together, study your word, and grow closer to you. We ask that you'll open our eyes, open our ears, open our hearts, so we can see, hear, and understand what your word has to tell us. We also lift up Gloria Cedars to you, and we ask that you will be in her mind and surround her and bring her comfort. We ask, Father, that your will be done as far as her health is concerned. If it was for us, that you would make this a false alarm if there be no cancer. We thank you for whatever your choice and whatever your decision is. And we ask this all in the name of Yeshua. Amen. All right. So far, over the last year, in the course of our studies, we've taken a look at a lot of different things. We've taken a look at the concepts of that we have to constantly be evaluating ourselves to see where we're at. And over the last couple of months, we've been looking at the Torah. We've been looking at the things that caused the flood. We've said that amongst those things that caused the flood was greed, vanity, sloth, jealousy, envy, and that a decrease in spiritual awareness and an increase in material awareness was also a cause for the flood. A desire for materialism over a desire for a relationship with Elohim. So we've considered a lot of things. Now, say in the last three studies, we talked about what it was to keep Torah, and we considered the idea of walking with our Elohim. But in this study, we're going to move in a direction of getting to know our Elohim a little bit more intimately and consider what his name means to us, as well as the names that have been used to bring his name to nothing. And we start our study of this in Shemot, in Exodus, at chapter 20, verse 2, where he says, I am Yehovah Elohecha. Elohecha means your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other Elohim before me. Now, so in this verse we read that it is Yehovah Elohecha that is speaking, and it is he who has delivered us. Now, Elohecha, unlike Elohechem, means Elohim, and it's a title for Yehovah that speaks to us as a whole. It's basically speaks to the whole of humanity, whereas Elohechem would be speaking to us individually. So Elohim means more than simply God. And we've said it before, there's actually not a word for God in Hebrew. God is something that came along later, and we'll talk about how the word God developed. But the idea of worshiping a deity isn't something that we find within Torah. It's more of a relationship, and there's more of a walk. This title has a variety of meanings for us to consider, among which are ruler, judge, and mighty one. Now, the primary root of Elohim, for some reason it didn't print out, this is how you spell it, is Ayil, that means ram. It's an animal used for the sacrifice of redemption. And it also means terebinth, which terebinth is a large tree, and we read about the terebinth tree in Bereshit 15, where Abraham was sitting underneath the terebinth tree when the visitors came. So in this, we have an idea that the meaning of Elohim, we can actually say, means our mighty ruler and judge who brings us rest and redemption. So when we say Elohim, we understand that it means a whole lot more than simply a deity. We're building a relationship with something greater than that. Now, we go on and we say that it is Elohim that delivers us from the land of Egypt. And Egypt is a word, misarim, that comes from the root matzor, which means a city under siege. So to be delivered from the land of Egypt, we get an idea that we can be delivered from those things that weigh us down and keep us down, being in a state of constant attack. These are the day-to-day issues that we struggle with. We all have problems that pop up, and sometimes we have problems that pop up 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. But when we have a walk with Elohim, our mighty ruler and judge that brings us redemption, deliverance, restoration, and rest, then we can be assured that He's going to judge the situation, give us a clear understanding of what the situation is so that we can find our rest and deliverance from our problem. He's not physically going to take us out of the issue, but what is going to happen is that we're going to receive through the Spirit how to go about taking care of whatever issue is on the plate. Now, this is also something that within His name can also take care of our issues with anxiety, depression, the things that brought us down. But this says, you shall have no other Elohim before me. So we can understand that we're not to trust in any other to judge us, protect us, and ultimately deliver us. It's only through Elohim that these things can happen. We say that there are small Elohim. He says, don't have any other Elohim before Him. We, in Psalms, we're called Elohim. We are made in the image. We can judge. We can discern. But we cannot provide our own redemption. And if we try to provide our own redemption, then we are trying to put ourselves in the place of Elohim. All right. And it's the same thing with going after foreign deities. We say that this foreign deity is now my Elohim. I'm trusting in something made out of wood and stone. They can't do anything for me.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you're just talking about how we can't take care of our own redemption. But when we do that, are we doing that? We're putting us before Him, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
I mean, is that in a roundabout way?
In a roundabout way.
Is that what He's saying? I mean, He's saying don't have no other before Him. But if you're trying to take care of it all yourself, you are putting yourself before Him. I mean, you're putting something, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And we'll actually cover that down the road a little bit. But it's exactly right. If I trust in myself to redeem myself, I can't redeem myself. I can't do anything in the name of Michael. It's not going to work. We have redemption in the name of Yahuwah. It's called, or He's called, Yeshua. So we can understand that we're not to trust in any other judge, mighty one, redeemer, to protect us and deliver us. So what makes this Elohim different than all the other Elohim? We find the answer in His name, which He gives to us in this verse. And He gives it to us for us to understand Him. He says, I am Yahuwah. So how does this name give us any clarity to distinguish between Elohim and the other Elohim? The name Yahuwah means the existing one. When He first introduces Himself to Moses, doing it this way is freaking me out. When He first introduces Himself to Moses, Moses asks Him, who shall I say sent me? And Yahuwah responds, Eyeh Asher Eyeh, which means I am that I am. It means I will prove to be who I will prove to be. Thus shall you say to the children of Israel. That's an interesting verse. Thus shall you say to the children of Israel, I am has sent you. A yet comes from a root chaya, meaning to exist, to arise, to appear, to become, and to establish. And this is interesting, that he is establishing himself as Yehovah Elohim to us. And if we say that we are the children of Israel, then we say that we have established that Elohim prevails. So what are we saying here? He's making an oath to us. He's saying, I am establishing myself in you. And we as the children of Israel are saying, we are established in the fact that you prevail. Everybody with me on that? Okay. So the primitive root of this word should actually say Hawa. The Vav in ancient Hebrew is actually a Wa sound, which is in the most basic sense means to breathe. The name Yehovah comes from the very same root structure. In his statement and in his name, we understand that he is existence. And he is the source of existence, all that there is, all that there was, and all that there will be. Today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Everything that exists is because he is. The Ari, there's Rabbi Luria in the, I think, 16th century, came up with the idea of Zimzum. And in Zimzum it says that Elohim, in order to bring forth creation, actually had to create a space within himself for us to come into existence. So this is an idea that we can follow, that if Elohim didn't exist, we wouldn't exist. So he is the existence of everything at every time. Now, he is the source of existence, so we've already talked about that. Everything that exists is because he is. So from this, we understand when he says, I am the Aleph and the Tav, that he is the beginning and the end. Now, we can know him intimately as Yehovah, and know that he is our help in our times of trouble. In Exodus 3:7, we read, and Yehovah said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people that are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters. In verse 8 it says, I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up to the land, or out of that land into a good land and large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto a place of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. We're not going to cover all those names, but what we are going to look at is that Yehovah sees and hears what we go through, and he acts to deliver us and bring us up out of our troubles. The prophet Joel says, and Peter and Paul both quote the prophet Joel. He says that those who call on the name of Yehovah will be delivered. So we have to have that intimate relationship, and we have to know his name in order to be able to call on it for this deliverance to take place. As Elohim, he judges and will judge our actions and will redeem us or not. The rabbinical writings in the Midrash of the Exodus, we read this. The Holy One, blessed be he, said to those, you want to know my name? I am called according to my actions. When I judge the creatures, I am Elohim. And when I show mercy with my world, I am named Yehovah. So if we can understand this, then we understand when Yehovah says, you shall have no other Elohim before me. He's saying that I am your judge, but I am Yehovah Elohecha. I am the one that shows you mercy, but I'm also the one who's going to either judge you or redeem you, or judge you and redeem you. Only Yahuwah has the true power and the authority to act as our mighty ruler, judge, and redeemer. It is because of him that we exist, and he alone has the authority to be Elohim, or the Elohim of creation. In fact, when we get more into Shemot, actually even in Bereshis, we see oftentimes that he's not simply called Elohim, he's called the Elohim, to reinforce the fact that he is the Elohim, the one. So we look forward in Bereshis 1 that it is Elohim that brought forth creation by his word. It was Yahuwah who created us in his image. Bereshit 2:7 says that that Yahuwah Elohim took the dirt and formed it into the man. It was Yahuwah Elohim who blew into the nostrils. So we understand that it was both Yahuwah, who is Elohim, who created us. So let's consider two verses from Bereshit. The first is in Bereshit 6:3. And it says, and Yahuwah said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for that he also is flesh. Therefore shall his days be numbered 120 years. So in Bereshit 6:3 we read that Yahuwah said that his spirit could not reside with humankind because they were flesh. Yeshua said that the Father is seeking those who will worship him in spirit and in truth. So what is Yeshua saying? That even though we are flesh, we can still have the Father abide in us and among us if we will learn how to worship in spirit and in truth. Now, Yahuwah provided the means to be able to worship in spirit and in truth. In his statement, therefore shall his days be 120 years. So how do we see that in that statement? We interpret this to mean that the lifespan of humankind is simply 120 years. So let's consider it from a different perspective. Let's consider that this is a means to find our way back to our Elohim, to worship in spirit and in truth. The gematria of Samech, the 15th letter of the alphabet, is 120. We have the Samech, which is 60, Mem is 40, and the Kaf, which is 20. If we consider our lives, 120 years, are dependent on something, then we can see what it is that brings us back into an intimacy of residing with Yahuwah. The word for ark, we start there, the word for ark is teva, which also means something that preserves life. 18th century rabbi Yisrael ben Eliezer wrote that another rendering for teva was word. And he commented that the verse at Bereshit 7:1 literally said, and Yahuwah said unto Noah, come you and all your house into the word. For you have I seen righteous before me in this generation. So if we consider that it's not just going into an ark, but it's going into something that will preserve our life. And according to Rabbi Eliezer, the thing that preserves our life is the Word. Then we start to get a picture. Because if this is the case, then our life is dependent on entering into the Word. We say that it was 8 people that went into the ark. If we know that Samech is the 15th letter of the alphabet, Samech again with the gematria of 120, is the 15th letter of the alphabet, then we consider that 8 times 15, again, equals 120. So we consider 8. And we've said many times that 8 is the het that represents our yoking ourselves to the Word. We say that the Vav represents humankind, the Zion represents the word, it represents the rest, the protection and nourishment that comes from Elohim.